Hi, this is Ambie from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to tell you about all the games I played in November. We had a lot of people being sick in our house in November, so we didn't have as many games played as usual. I have 28 plays logged of 18 games, but a good amount of those were solo or just with my kids. So I finished Escape Team. I did 4 missions of those, so I think there's 9 missions total, so I played through all of those. Escape Team is a print and play escape room game that I got a review copy of. You print out puzzles and then you do it on your phone. I actually talked about it on the podcast if you want to hear more about it. But basically the puzzles, there's different types of puzzles, but a lot of them involve like cutting things out and like putting things together on paper. And then they all have numeric answers that you enter into the app. So for a quick like puzzly experience, it's fun. I also had 3 plays of Décorum, which I streamed with Crystal. You can check out the video. We had that last week here on the YouTube channel. But that was a sponsored stream from Floodgate Games. Décorum is a cooperative deduction game where you're trying to decorate a house. So each person has different conditions that they need to meet, and you're like putting pieces in place or like taking away pieces on your turn and trying to like meet your conditions, but also the other people need to meet their conditions too. So, but they can't tell you what their conditions are. They can just say like, I love it or I hate it. So it gets kind of passive aggressive, but there's also deduction trying to figure out what the other people have and like what they need to do so that you can help them. Crystal and I both really like it and we really enjoyed our play. I'm looking forward to playing more of the scenarios with Toby because we both had liked our play of it like when we played a while ago. And there are a lot of scenarios in the 2-player game. Another streamed game is Monopoly. So for Tabletop Live Network in November, we had a Monopoly marathon. So everyone was playing Monopoly. Toby and I played the original Monopoly, which was a lot of fun. We actually played it twice. Each game was about 30 to 40 minutes. But I had actually played Monopoly by the rules like at 4 players a few years ago, and I liked it okay, but it has like lots of negotiations and auctions and stuff, which aren't my favorite thing. So I actually liked it more at 2 players because it had less of the like stressful negotiations. It still had like auctions and some negotiations, but it's just like between 2 people. So it wasn't as much stress for me. And a playthrough of Monopoly will be going up later this month. I have it edited and stuff, but if you missed the stream, then you can watch that later. Okay, this next game is one that I actually played in person with some people. It's Project Elite. We actually played this a couple months ago, so I mentioned it in our August recap, but we played it again a couple times and actually won. So Project Elite is a real-time cooperative game, which those are like some of my favorite types of games. And in the game, you are these characters with weapons and stuff, and you're trying to shoot all these aliens and survive and like fulfill these objectives. So the way you do actions is you roll dice, and then whatever comes up is what action you can do, but you can keep re-rolling. But if you get like the alien movement symbol on the dice, then the aliens move, and they have to do that, so you can't re-roll until they do that. And you're trying to like kill the aliens before they can get to your base. So like if they move too much, that's bad. So you're doing like 2-minute rounds, and then each round there's a refresh and more aliens come out. So you have to like keep making sure you kill all of the ones on the board, but then also you're trying to do objectives with the dice you have, and then sometimes they get locked and stuff. So it's really tense and stressful for those 2 minutes, and then like you get a break and then 2 minutes again. And we finally won once, so that was exciting. I played 2 games of Go Away Monster with my kids, so I've talked about this a lot. This is a great game for toddlers, and they're really enjoying it still. We played 2 plays of Masterword, which is the cooperative word game. It's kind of like Mastermind mixed with word guessing. I actually don't like this as much as the other cooperative word games we've been playing, which is why we hadn't played in a while, but like we wanted to play a couple more times. One person knows a word, and then everyone knows the category of the word, and then people are writing down clues each round that theoretically would point them towards the word. So for example, if the category was an animal, people could write down like a mammal or a fish or has 4 legs or something like that. And the clue giver will say how many of those clues match up to the answer, but not which one. So if you say like 2 out of the 3, then they're like, oh, it could be a land mammal with 4 legs. I forgot what the clues were already, but it could be like that, or it could be the ocean with 4 legs, but probably not. It's probably land with 4 legs. So you kind of want to like match up clues a little bit, but not too much. And you don't want like just all distinct clues, because then if you have one answer, then you don't know which one it is. So it's kind of hard to figure out good clues to say. But it is really exciting when you actually get the word. We also played 2 games of Cross Clues, which is the cooperative word party game that I enjoy more. This is a real-time cooperative party game. I love the real time. There's a grid with words on the columns and rows, and you're trying to give a clue to for one coordinate of the grid. So each person has one coordinate of the grid and they're simultaneously giving clues and also guessing other people. And you're trying to get the whole grid. So I like it because you're like always doing something. You're always thinking of a clue to give or guessing for someone else simultaneously. So there's no downtime. Now onto some new to me games. I got a couple of review copies of key Enigma games, which are escape room games. They're mixtures of physical components and online web pages and maybe some like searching and doing emails and stuff. So I played through WizCape Academy, which isn't on Board Game Geek, but it's like 1 to 2 hour mission. But then I also started Kalinasu Adventure, which is 4 missions of about 1 hour each. And so I've only done the first mission so far. But I really enjoyed WizCape Academy. So far I'm enjoying Kalinasu Adventures a little less because it involves more like internet stuff, but I like the physical stuff better. But it's still pretty fun. I also played a review copy of The Loop that I had gotten. The Loop is a cooperative game themed around time travel. You're trying to like prevent Dr. Foe from like spreading across the different eras and stuff. And there's like vortexes that pop up if there's too much bad stuff that happens in one era. But the board is like 7 different eras in a circle, and there's this cube tower that you drop these red cubes in on each turn, and they like go out randomly into 3 spots. And so that's like the bad stuff that happens if too many cubes are in one spot, then the vortex appears, and that's bad. So that's pretty neat. And there's also the way you do actions. You have cards that can do different actions, but then you can spend energy to refresh your cards. So like you use your cards up, but then you spend energy to like loop back in time and refresh cards. I actually didn't really get to use that as much because I didn't get like cards that comboed well, but one of our friends did some really good combos and he was the MVP. So we won. We also played one of the games of Unlock Mythic Adventures, which is an escape room game. Unlock is a replayable escape room game based on cards. So we played In the Clutches of Hades, which is one of the scenarios. We actually didn't like this one that much. Some of the things didn't work well. And so like this one was one of the more disappointing Unlock games we've played. But there are 2 other scenarios in the game that we haven't played yet, so hopefully those are better. Another review copy I played was Break the Cube. This is a competitive spatial deduction game. Each person builds up a stack of little blocks, and then other people are trying to guess what it is. So you guess the player on your left's block, and you can ask like, what does it look like from the top at this coordinate, or what does it look like from the side from this coordinate, and you have to answer. So like you're getting little snapshots of what it looks like, and then you're trying to recreate it. We played at 3 players, but I think it would be best at 2 players, so I want to play again at 2 players since it would just be like head-to-head guessing each other's puzzle instead of like guessing other people's. It's more of like a solo puzzle thing, but I think like head-to-head would be good. Another review copy I got was ORP, the Market for Space Merchant Translators, which I talked about on the podcast. But this is a card game that has like bluffing and deduction and a little bit of take that. You're trying to get a hand of cards based on a secret condition you have. It tells you like what cards you need in your hand, but you don't know what each card means because your cards are things that say like glorp, orp, forp, and each one represents something. So like a glorp could be a beetle, and then the orp could be a dress or something. And then your secret condition says you need 2 beetles and 1 dress or something like that, but you don't know what you have because each person has a key. So I would have like a glorp equals a dress, and someone else has an orp equals a beetle, and those are all secret. So on your turns, you're asking people, oh, do you know this information? Kind of like Clue. And eventually you'll figure things out and then like trade things and get your hand to what you want it to be. But when you ask people questions, they can lie. So you don't necessarily know the information. So there's bluffing there, and then there's also take that because you can force trades with people and try to prevent them from getting what they need. My group didn't really like it that much. It was okay, but like I don't really like bluffing and take that. I just like the pure deduction parts. So adding on that did not work for me. But you can hear more of my thoughts on the podcast. It was episode 170. We played another game of Stay Cool, which I mentioned last time. It's a real-time multitasking trivia game. I also mentioned this on the podcast. But on your turn, you have like some time to answer questions, and like one person's asking some questions that you're answering by spelling it out with these dice that have letters on them, and the other person's asking you questions that you're just answering verbally all at the same time because you want to answer both questions. Since the score you get is a multiple, you multiply the score from both cards. There's also a timer that's going, a 30-second timer that's flipping 3 times, and in later rounds you have to tell the person flipping the timer to flip it, or else you only get the 30 seconds. So it's very hectic, and then sometimes you forget, and then like sometimes the trivia can be a little hard, but it's mostly easy questions. Like but sometimes I just didn't know the answer. But then the person asking can kind of like help you if it's obvious that it's something that you don't know. The trivia is supposed to be things that you do know. But it's very hectic and stressful. Multitasking, those are things that I like in games. I also played Teeter Tower, which is a new dexterity stacking game. I actually got this as a prize from Little Big Thumbs. They did a giveaway because this got their like Dexterific award. I don't remember what it's called, but when they review a game that's like really good, they give away a copy of it, and I won. You should check out Little Big Thumbs. They do a lot of reviews on children's games, and they really like dexterity games. So Teeter Tower is a cooperative stacking game. You're stacking dice on top of tiles and then more tiles and dice. So each turn you take a tile and it has like numbers on it and also colors, and you roll dice. And then the rules for stacking is like you have to match up the number or the color. So basically you need to have the dice in the positions to have a good base. So you want them spread out, but like depending on what you roll and what color dice you have, it might not match up well to be spread out, and so like it gets a little wobbly. You also have a limited number of total dice, and we played on the hardest mode, which needs to do like all the tiles, which means that for each tile you would need only 2 or 3 dice, which makes it hard to actually balance when there's only 2 dice. So we did not win, but it was fun. Okay, and then there's a lot of kids games that I played with my kids. I played My First Adventure Finding the Dragon once, which is the role-playing children's book, like choose your own adventure book that they really like. I also played First Orchard once, which we haven't played in a while. My kids didn't really like gravitate toward this one that much, but they finally played by the rules. This is a cooperative game where you're rolling a die and putting the matching fruit into a basket, trying to do it before the raven gets to the end. So this was the first time that like without my heckling them all the time, they actually only took one turn at a time and one fruit at a time, which was really awesome, having them actually play the game without me having to like make sure that they were playing the game. I also played Tidy Up with one of my kids. This has been one of their favorite games since they started playing games pretty much. It involves organizing these cardboard pictures of toys into the bookshelf, so you put them into slots, and they really like organizing them and putting them in the slots. And then I played Teddy's Colors and Shapes with one of my kids. This is a shape and color matching one. You either play the shape matching one or the color matching one, but it has different colored shapes and then like cut out boards where you can place the shapes, and you turn your roll a die and then place the matching color or shape. So lots of games with kids this month, which is fun. And that's it for the games I played in November. Make sure to check out our podcast for some more discussion on some of the games I played. And then also, if you want to see some more game videos or gameplays or whatever, check out some videos here. Subscribe to our channel for more of those videos. And thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye!